Today I'm with Rich Hobson, and I want to welcome you to Dothan and Houston County today. You're running for United States Congress.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about Rich Hobson and then why you're running.
Sure. And Ricky, I appreciate you having me on today too. Hey, Ricky, I'm from Enterprise, and my wife's from Enterprise. I met Susie in the 9th grade, and we went to Enterprise High School. We went to the junior college Enterprise. But we always came to Houston County, always came to Dothan for dates. So this is the dating city to us, and it's always been the big city. And it's real good to be here today too. I've always liked Dothan, Alabama, and Houston County. But that's a little bit about a background growing up. I was born into a military family, lived at Fort Rucker from 4th grade to 6th grade, and then through a flip of a coin, my parents chose Enterprise. So that is why I'm from Enterprise. But
I want to toss something in, which is interesting. Fort Rucker brought y'all to Enterprise.
That's right.
And then you liked it and stayed.
Well, and really that says a whole lot too, because now Susie's from Enterprise. Her parents and grandparents, 5 generations or something like that. My parents chose to make the Wiregrass home. And they're from Laurel, Mississippi, which is a great place also, but we really, really enjoyed the community and the surroundings and Houston County and, all these different places. And South Alabama has been real, real good to the Hobsons, so we were happy to stay here and make it.
So I'm going to go ahead and put you on the spot at the beginning.
You bet.
One of the things as United States Congressman is making sure the area is protected for Fort Rucker.
Oh my goodness. Hey, having been born into a military family, and then I served myself. I was in the Air Force Reserves, the 908th Airlift Wing out of Maxwell. I mean, it means something to me. And so, I care deeply about Fort Rucker, home of Army Aviation. I mean, my goodness. And Maxwell, I served at Maxwell and Gunner. And so, definitely. And of course, with our veterans, that's a real, real important thing to me. And actually, I'm running because I want to help preserve a safe, prosperous, and moral America for our children and grandchildren. And the reason I throw that out is because the safe part, that is the military. I want to make sure that our military is funded. And right now, President Trump's doing a great job. I think he increased the funding by about 16%, and that's a great first step, and we need to continue to do that. We need to build the wall. And I don't know if you remember, but I announced on January the 3rd, and on my first speech, and pretty much every speech since then, I've said, hey, build the wall, but it can't be built overnight. So until we can build the wall, let's use our military. Let's use the Guard, Reserves, and active duty to secure our borders. Well, I was proud to see President Trump jumped on board about 3-4 weeks ago, and it's just an excellent idea, and he's doing it right now, and I'm very, very thankful for that. So I definitely want to be there for the military, but I tell you what, Ricky, also I care about the veterans and the VA. We have a lot of problems with the VA. A lot of it has to do with communication, but we literally have veterans dying, waiting for bed space to have cures for their ailments and to be able to have hospital care. Now, the same side, I guess on a different dimension, we also have rural health care problems. In the 15th district, or excuse me, in the 2nd district, it's 15 counties, and there's 12 rural health care facilities. Okay, they are literally dying on the vine, looking for folks to fill up bed space. So you got these two problems. You got the VAs, the veterans who are looking for bed space. You've got the rural hospitals who are looking for people to fill them up. And I think we can bring those two problems together and have a good solution that'll be better care for everybody, and will save our rural hospitals, because I tell you what, no matter where you live, of course you guys are really blessed here in Houston County with wonderful medical facilities, but if you're in Opp, Alabama, if you're in Georgiana, Alabama, okay, that's just about to lose a hospital, when you get hurt, you want to get help right away and not have to drive an hour away or something like that. So anyway, that's a couple of things bringing together. So with the veterans and with the military,
I'm cut you off about who Rich
you're right.
But when you said Fort Rucker and that brought your family here, one of the things about the congressional race is that we had a big fight about the cutbacks on military and trying to save our military bases here.
Well, our previous president tried to ruin us, and we're trying to catch up now. And I'm very, very thankful for President Trump, and I'm going to back him, and I'm going to back the military, definitely. So just moving on with that same line of thought. So that's the safe part, okay? Prosperous part, if you don't mind. We're the greatest nation in the world. We need the lowest taxes in the world. We truly do. We deserve that. And we need to reorient our way of thinking about taxes. And I'm real interested in the fair tax, where you're taxed based on consumption. Now, when that occurs, first of all, it lowers your taxes, which we're all for that. It also brings in more revenue, so that would help with services that we do need to fulfill. But then also, it does a big waste-cutting factor, and that is it will do away with the Internal Revenue Service. Now, I am all for cutting the waste in there. My background is the court system, and I've known you for a long time, and you know that I started as a court referral officer in Covington County and Coffee County, and worked my way around in Pike and Crenshaw and Macon and Bullock, and then I worked my way up to the administrative office of courts in Montgomery, Alabama. And along the way, I ended up meeting Judge Moore in 1993, and I kept on getting different positions and different responsibilities around the administrative office of courts. But then finally, when Judge Moore was elected Chief Justice in 2000, he appointed me as director of the Alabama court system. So I've got that in my experience and background. And in doing that, you know, the judicial branch of government, which that's basically what I was in charge of, the judicial branch of government. That's 2,000 employees. That's 252 circuit and district judges and 68 circuit clerks. We had a $180 million budget that I had to come up with, that I had to secure from the legislature, and then I had to do the all-important, just like you have to do, and just like the citizens of the second district have to do, I had to live within that budget. And that's not always an easy thing, as you very well know. And just like at home, we have to cut corners, and we have to make changes, and we have to cut things to make it. Well, we had to do the same thing with the judicial branch of government. Well, I bring that up because Washington, D.C. seems to have forgotten all about that, and they are just a blank check. Well, just start up the machine again and print more money. Well, I'm against that, and I want to reduce the fat. So that's the prosperity part, okay? And then I guess the third part of that, to carry on with that line of thinking, is moral, okay? Hey, I was raised in Coffee County, and those values that I was raised on, I feel, were the same values that our forefathers were raised on, the same ones that made this great nation. So these values and beliefs that we hold near and dear, well, we see them slipping away. Even in Houston County, Alabama, we see them slipping away. So I'm interested in bringing a return to that. As you know, I've been with Judge Moore for the past 2 decades, okay? So being with Judge Moore, that meant that I went through those different battles with him. That first battle, that's about, I guess, 18 years ago now, something like that, the 10 Commandments battle. Now, he installed the 10 Commandments in the judicial building. I was the director of the Alabama court system, and immediately we were sued, okay? I was in the original suit, my name was. In fact, it was Hobson et al. And then they figured out through depositions, crazy depositions, by the way, that I didn't have responsibility over the judicial building in Montgomery, but I did over all the rest of the courthouses. But anyway, through that process, they dropped me from the suit. They did end up bringing me in as a witness in that federal court, and they asked me crazy questions like, you know, do you pray in that building? Yeah. Yeah. Do you pray with anybody else in that building? Who do you pray to? What do you pray about? Crazy, crazy things. That was ACLU and Southern Poverty Law Center. It's just a crazy thing. But I stood with Judge Moore, and I was asked to bend and fold and duck and do all these different things and denounce, and I did not, and I'm thankful that I did not. I mean, it was God's law that Judge Moore was standing up on, and I believe our Constitution says that we can acknowledge God, and that's what that whole case was about anyway. So ultimately, he was removed. Consequently, I was fired. But that's not a bad thing. After that, I went to the Foundation for Moral Law. That's a national law firm that's based out of Montgomery, Alabama. And we got to work on things that are near and dear to our heart. Ricky, I know they're near and dear things to your heart. Things like the acknowledgement of God, prayer in school, things like Second Amendment cases. We were right at the forefront of filing amicus briefs in the Heller decision, and the McDonald opinion, one out of D.C. and one out of Chicago, that truly said we have a right to keep and bear arms. So we were strong Second Amendment folks. And then pro-life cases. We were able to get involved in many pro-life cases all across the nation. But we did that for a long time, and I thought that was going to be my career. One day at the end of 2011, Judge Moore comes to me and says, hey, what do you think about going back? Well, going back meant going back to the court system, all right? And we talked about it many times before, but we prayed about it, and we had a great sense of peace about trying to go back. So we embarked on that judicial race. I was his campaign manager in 2012. We worked hard, and we ran hard, and we had no money. I mean, you know that old typical thing. Right. But the Lord blessed us, and we had great favor in that race against 2 well-funded, well-known opponents. Judge Moore won without a runoff. And I mean, I consider it a miracle, but it was a fun, wonderful thing to be involved in. So we go back to our old jobs. He's Chief Justice. I'm Director of the Alabama court system. I truly thought that's what I would do for the rest of my life. And we were very, very comfortable, and we already knew what to do because we'd been in those roles before. You know, I'm back trying to get the budget. I'm back living within the budget. We're back doing all those things, running a branch of government. Lo and behold, something else pretty big comes up. Traditional marriage. Marriage between one man and one woman. And again, it's one of these things that You know, I'm the director of the court system. I've got my boss, Chief Justice, who's standing up for something pretty enormous. And I was asked again, bend, fold, denounce, change, you know, duck, bow, weave. And because it was something so enormous as biblical marriage, I stood along with him. You know what happened. Judge Moore was ultimately removed, and I was consequently fired again. So I've got 2 things on my belt, 2 things on my resume where I was fired. But they were 2 things that I would do again if faced with that kind of decision
and
again.
Fired by 7 or 8 people that nobody in the state can name.
Right. I can name them.
I know you can't, but the
yeah,
average
you're
person
exactly
cannot
right.
even name who they are.
You're exactly right, and it's, you know, it's backroom politics at its worst, and yeah, that's part of the problem.
And we could do a whole show about
Boy, could we?
the Satanville in Montgomery.
Yeah, I tell you what, with Judicial Inquiry Commission, with all that kind of stuff. But be it as it may, I hung in there both times, and I paid the price both times. And the reason I mention it to you, Ricky, is because I believe that it is a good attribute to bring to Washington, D.C. I mean, basically, when you look at it, Montgomery tried to change me, because Montgomery has a swamp, too. It is alive and well. They tried to change me, and they couldn't. Washington, D.C. will try to change me, and they won't. So, in a nutshell, that's Rich Hobson. That's why I'm running right there, Ricky.
One thing that started this race
Right.
a couple years ago, when the presidential race,
Right.
and about Donald Trump. So I'm going to ask you the question that I ask anybody that was running for this seat.
Oh, my
Talk
goodness.
about Donald Trump and the statement of not supporting Donald Trump.
Well, first of all, you know, for a Republican to denounce the nominee, because that's what she did, and, you know, threw him under the bus when we were right on the cusp of having Hillary Clinton, and you know, this country just going all the way downhill. So it was a humongous mistake that she's having to pay for. She opened the door for other people to run. But you know, now looking at things like voting for that omnibus bill, okay, not having the backbone to say, no, I'm not going to vote for something that's against my principles, because it's against my principles. You know, I see them as kind of the same links. Okay, so we need someone who will back up the president. Definitely, I support President Trump. I can't wait to get in there and help him. And at a minimum, we need somebody who voted for the president. Yeah, hello. Yeah.
Hey, I want to ride on Air Force One if you get there and get connections with
Ricky Stokes, Air Force One.
That's good. All right. In summary, tell me why the people should vote for Rich Hobson.
You know, I've got the commitment and the resolve to not be changed in Washington, D.C. My experience, my background, and I'm very, very thankful for that. I'm from here, I'm prior military, and these are the things that I bring to the table, and I'm not going to be changed. And I truly believe that I have proven, not once but twice, that I will not change, that I will stick to the convictions, and I will stick to the beliefs and the values that we have here in the 2nd District, and I sure look forward to it, Ricky. My website, if you don't mind, you're a good man. Yeah. It's richhobson.org, richhobson.org, and we've got a Facebook page, which is Rich Hobson for Congress, and it's that clever number 4, I didn't come up with, but it's Rich Hobson for Congress on Facebook, and I ask you to visit early, visit often. I'm just about to have an AR-15 giveaway, so I encourage people to go to the website, to go to the Facebook page, and sign up to win a free AR-15.
Thank you, and thank you for spending some time with us.
Thank you for interviewing me, Ricky. Appreciate it.